Some other statistical data. In Europe, we can have 250 million internet users. Almost all of European schools are now connected to the internet. It's quite obvious. Also, in the very important area, so-called e-health, which I believe will be in the future definitely the leading area where the information communication technologies will be somehow implemented and adopted regularly. And at the end, normally businesses, maybe just to say one additional thing, that I don't know if it was explained during these 3 days. Our tax administration, Slovenian tax administration, adopted a law, and since 1st January this year, that means from the beginning of this year, all the communication with our tax administration for the businesses, and for the companies, should be just done in the electronic way over the internet. So we, in the tax administration, which is a very important governmental counterpart for the businesses, all the transfer of the data, all change of the documents are just in the electronic world. We are now absolutely talking of the paperless world in this communication. Well, very briefly, a schema from the Lisbon strategy as a political document to the roof there, where is the actually e-government action plan together with the I-2010 initiatives, which somehow more precisely define these political goals, which are bottom there in the picture. What are the 5 basic topics or issues dealing with this? No citizens left behind. We are talking about that everybody has the same rights to the development and using of these modern technologies in communication with the government, with the businesses, and so on. To increase the efficiency and effectiveness, very often we can nowadays an opportunity to hear these 2 terms, namely in this, I could say, economic or financial crisis, everybody, not just in the private sector, not also in the public sector, they very often talk about increasing the efficiency and effectiveness, normally with the overall goal to reduce the costs, which is the major step there. Normally to increase the services with introduction or redefining what is a high impact service, or what are the high impact services which are more important. What are the key enablers normally in participation, which is a part of the so-called e-democracy, that people could have an ability to talk with the government, to make the suggestions, to make the proposals to them, and so on. And later on also to trace what's going on with the suggestions, if the government adopted them, and so on and so on. Maybe just some words about the impact services. I'm a governmental employee. I have been for many years. And nevertheless, fortunately I have to say that we all recognized that in government we do not have the so-called clean applications. It's quite obvious that we are not comparable, for example, with the bank services, with electronic banking and so on, which are typically done very frequently, very often, and so on. But on the other hand, the governmental services are not so popular. We know that. First of all, for example, in Slovenia, we have 700 electronic services available on the web. Could you imagine 700 services? It's a tremendous amount, and our government is very developed in this area. I'm sure that you know that for the last year, in the last assessment of the European Commission, we was put in the 2nd place, what was just on the top, actually. But nevertheless, we are talking about 700 services. Do we really need 700 services for citizens? Well, on the other hand, we know that what is the best government or governance, which is the most pleasant for the people? Definitely this, which is somehow invisible for the citizen. If the government don't bother the people and the businesses with everyday services and questions, communication, and so on, it's the best for people, not to have some frequent communication with the government. Okay, businesses are somehow different. They need to send all the data, to statistical data, to tax administration, social security services, pension services, and agencies, and so on and so on. But nevertheless, for me as a citizen, I evaluate the quality of the government if I do not have any communication, or as less as it is possible with the government. Okay, I need a passport, so I need to go there to recognize me, and it's also a security for me, and that's the reason that I will do that from this point of view. But not to send all of this, I don't know, tax administration data about my salaries, and so on and so on. Well, normally that's I presented before the European approach. On the right side, just the opposite, you have the ability to see also the Slovenian, and normally it's somehow living in some kind of collaboration. They are very coherent one between each other. Normally, you could talk about any plans, visions, or missions which are not comparable with the same visions, goals, and projects in the wider, for example, European levels. That means that they are very compatible. We are working in the same directions, and normally also follow the same goals. On that. So definitely, this reduction and simplifying are definitely the first steps into the planning and introduction of the new services before transformation and inclusion of the modern